In this lecture, we are going to discuss about one of the important topic, pages of compiler. So last class we discussed about what is a compiler, what is the role of compiler, then what is interpreter, then differences between compiler and interpreter, then various cousins of compiler like preprocessor, assembler, linker, then various applications of compiler, then compilation technology tools, then the analysis and synthesis model. So these are the topics we covered in our first lecture. Now in this lecture, we will continue with the structure of a compiler. So in this structure, the major structure of the compiler is phases of compiler. In last class, we mentioned, so compiler consisting of 6 phases. So all these 6 phases can be represented diagrammatically, pictorially. So that form is called as the structure of a compiler, which consisting of all the 6 phases. So in this structure, we will discuss the diagrammatic representation of phases of compiler with all 6 phases. That is lexical analysis, first phase, syntax analysis, second phase, semantic analysis, third phase, intermediate code generation, fourth phase, then code optimization, fifth phase, then code generation, sixth phase. All 6 phases are included in this structure. In addition to 6 phases, so there are 2 additional components also there. The other one is symbol table management and another component error handler. So whenever a error is encountered in any phase, using error handler, those can be rectified. So after that, then we will review all the phases briefly with some examples. Then finally, how to group phases into phases. So the 6 phases can be divided into some sub-modules, which are called as phases. Then finally, some compiler construction tools. So depends on all the phases, which are used to implement the phases of compilers. So this is the outline of today's lecture. Now let us move to one by one. So first you can recall once the structure of a compiler, what we discussed in earlier lecture. So a compiler which takes input as the source code, then produces output as the object code. Then it contains errors also. So whenever errors are encountered during the phases of the compiler, those can be rectified. Then the role of compiler. So when you can say a compiler is a good compiler, some qualities needs to be maintained. So the compiler must generate correct code, then must recognize errors, then analysis and synthesis. So these are all the major roles of a compiler. Then more details about the compiler structure now we will discuss. Now let us see, before seeing the structure, here the phases of the compiler, all the 6 phases are divided into 2 major phases. The first one is called as front end. The second one is called as back end. So front end is nothing but which takes the first 4 phases till intermediate code. Then back end takes the last 2 phases, that is code optimization and code generation. So front end means combination of the 4 phases which performs analysis of the source language. So which takes input as the source code, then produces output as intermediate representation. So frequently we'll use IR. IR is nothing but intermediate representation. Then backend, the last 2 phases of compiler, takes input as intermediate representation, then produces its target code in object form or machine form. So now the role of front end. performs the analysis of the source language. So recognizes legal and illegal programs and reports errors in this, and understands the input program and collects its semantics in an intermediate representation. Then it produces intermediate representation and shapes the code for the backend. So much can be automated in this front end. Then coming to backend, backend does the target language synthesis using the last two phases. So here chooses instructions to implement each intermediate representation operation, then translates the intermediate representation into our required target code, then needs to conform with the system interfaces. Automation has been less successful in this backend. So typically front end takes the time complexity of big O of n, whereas backend is NP complete. This is one of the undecidability problem in automata theory. Last chapter, the concept of undecidability we discussed. So this is one of the example. So backend is related to NP complete. So exactly what is NP complete? A problem which we don't know how to solve in less than exponential time, a prescribed time, then that problem is said to be NP complete. So finally, front end does the analysis part and back end does the synthesis part. So analysis part consisting of the first four phases, then synthesis part consisting of the last two phases. This is the conceptual structure into two parts, front end and back end. Now let us see the big picture of a compiler, so which is called as phases of compiler. So this diagram shows the complete structure of a compiler with all 6 phases, followed by phase wise what is the input and what is the output, then connecting to the symbol table and error handlers. So this diagram is very important. So here in examination also, if any question given on this, so explain phases of compilers with the block diagram or neat diagram. So you must draw this diagram. So here one important similarity you can observe. All the 6 phases are listed in order. So the first phase output will be input to the second phase. Then second phase output will be input to the third phase, and so on. Fifth phase output will be the input of the sixth phase. So like that, there is a inter relationship among all the phases. So first, the first phase is called as lexical analysis, so also called as scanner. So which takes input as source program that can be written in one language originally. So source program is the input of lexical analysis or scanner. Now the second phase is called as syntax analysis, or also called as parser. So the output of lexical analysis or scanner which produces tokens. Now we'll discuss all this one by one later on. So token, what is a token? Token is nothing but sequence of grouping of characters. So like the frequently used tokens are identifiers, keywords, constants, operators, some symbols, etc. So lexical analysis takes input as the source program, then produces output in the form of tokens. Then the second phase of compiler is called as syntax analysis or parser. So which takes input as tokens, then produces the output in the form of tree structured, that is nothing but hierarchical form. That tree structure here called as abstract syntax tree, abbreviated as AST. So this is the output of syntax analysis or parser, which produces a tree form, which is called as abstract syntax tree. This is different from parse tree. Then the third phase is called as semantic analysis, so which takes input as output of syntax analysis or parser, that is abstract syntax tree. Then it produces same as abstract syntax tree, but with annotated abstract syntax tree. What is meaning of annotated? Each and every node in syntax tree, it checks the semantics. That means validity, whether it is correctly defined or not. The correct meaning is giving or not. So if any node, so the any ambiguity occurred, so while defining the semantics at the time, it annotates the labels with the correct form. So, but looks same as abstract syntax tree only. This is also a tree structured form, but only annotation is extra added. Then the fourth phase is called as intermediate code generation, which takes input as output of semantic analysis, that is annotated abstract syntax tree. Then that can be translated into some intermediate representations. So like a postfix form, some 3 address code, various intermediate representations are there. So that is the output of intermediate code generation in the form of intermediate representation. Then fifth phase is code optimization. So whatever the intermediate representation obtained using intermediate code generation, so that can be minimized, optimized wherever the possibilities. If unnecessary variables are there, then if any repetitions are there, so wherever possibility to reduce, so that the reduction can be done under the phase of code optimization, which is the fifth phase of compiler. So here code optimization takes input as the output of intermediate code generation, that is intermediate representation is the input of code optimization, then produces in the same form of intermediate representation but with optimized form. Some reduction may be done here. So then coming to the last phase, which is called as code generation. So code generation takes input as optimized IR, which is output of code optimization. Then that can be converted or translated into our target program. That may be a machine code or assembly code, whatever. So these are all the various phases of compiler. 6 phases are listed in the order. So all phases are interconnected. So one phase output will be the next phase input, like that and so on. First to take the source program, then produces the target program. Then in addition to the 6 phases, so here one management or data structure, which is called a symbol table, is connected to all phases. Here you can see. So symbol table is connected to all the 6 phases. So which is a data structure which is used to store the information about identifiers and constants which are involved in the program. So phase wise the information about identifiers and constants are stored in symbol table. Then error handler is another component. Here you can see error handler is also connected to all the phases. Phase wise wherever error messages are occurred, those can be stored in error handler. Then error handler will handles by using some error recovery mechanism. This is the big picture of phases of compiler with all 6 phases, phase wise input and output. Then symbol table and error handlers are also connected. Now briefly we will discuss phase wise. The first phase is called as lexical analysis or scanner. So reads character in the source program and groups them into words, a basic unit of syntax, which is called as tokens. So those strings or words are called as tokens. Produces words and recognizes what sort they are. The output is called as token. Whatever the output produced by lexical analysis, which is called as a token, and this can be defined as a pair. A token is a pair of the form. First, it contains type, comma, lexeme. So lexeme is nothing but description of each and every character. So in the source program, then what is its type? That means token name, or other format is token class followed by attribute. Token class means it may be identifier or keyword or constant, etc. So this is the representation or notation of a token. For example, let us see. So the source program or string a equal to b plus c becomes. So this can be represented as a pair with the type, comma, lexeme. Lexeme means the given original value in the given source program. Then type means whether it is identifier or constant or operator or keyword, etc. So identifiers are denoted by simply ID. So identifier, the first two letters. Now here you can see A. In the given statement A equal to B plus C, so what is A? A is the identifier. Then B is also identifier. Then C is also identifier. Then equal is the operator, which is called as assignment operator. Then plus is the addition operator. Now using the above token notation, this can be converted as the first one left hand side identifier is A. So you can represent it as type. What is its type? A is the identifier. So ID, comma, then lexeme. What is the original value? So A. So within angular brackets, you can represent. Okay, the statement is converted into tokens form using the format type comma lexeme. So ID comma A. So this is the first one. Then equal. Equal is the assignment operator. As of now, directly you can include the operator symbol itself within angular brackets. Then right hand side, what you have B, that is the other identifier. So ID comma B. Then plus is again operator. You can include within the notation of token. Then C is also another identifier. So this is the representation of token for a given statement. This is the output of lexical analysis. So here needs to record each ID attribute, that is identifier attribute, keep a symbol table. That is the role of symbol table. All the identifiers values are stored into a symbol table. Whenever that phase is required, so it can access from the symbol table. So lexical analysis eliminates white spaces, tab, new line, etc. Speed is important here. So use a specialized tool. So that is automatic lexical analyzer generator tool, which is called as Flex. So this tool can be demonstrated practically also in the compiler design lab. So which is a tool for generating scanners, programs which recognize lexical patterns in text. This is automatic lexical analyzer generator tool. So here the tool is called as Flex. So this was available on Linux platforms. In laboratory, this can be demonstrated. Anyway, we have the concept of Lex tool. At that time, we will discuss more about this. Then coming to syntax analysis or syntactic, also called as parser. Syntax analysis or parser, which is the second phase of compiler. So in this, what is the role of syntax analysis, which takes tokens as the input, which is output of lexical analysis, imposes a hierarchical structure on the token stream. This hierarchical structure is usually expressed by recursive rules. So here we will use the concept of context-free grammars, so which is type 2 grammar as for Chomsky hierarchy, where we studied in formal language and automata theory. So there in syntax analysis, we will use the concept of context-free grammar. So context-free grammars formalize these recursive rules and guide syntax analysis. For example, this is one of the standard example grammar, context-free grammar for expressions. So here the grammar is defined. Here you can see expression derives, here arrow derives expression plus ter, or other production is expression minus ter or only ter. So here expression, let us say E, this can be written in simple forms. E derives, E plus term is T, or then other operation E minus T or term T. So in simple terms, we can represent using single letters. Now here E is given. Now we have to define T. Term, again term is defined as term into factor or term by factor or only factor. So this is nothing but here T derives T into F or T by F or only F. Now here what is the new variable? F is the new. So now what is F? F means factor. Factor derives identifier or constant or expression. That means f derives identifier, you can make it as id. So then constant maybe some small c, then expression expression nothing but e within parentheses. So now this is the one example grammar. This grammar we will use in syntax and analysis. This is one of the arithmetic expression grammar. So this grammar defines simple algebraic expressions like addition, subtraction, division, factor, etc. So now this can be represented in the form of hierarchical structure. First, we know for a given context free grammar how to draw its parse tree. So parse tree or derivation tree. Then from that, again we have to draw a syntax tree. Syntax tree is different from parse tree or derivation tree. Now here you can see in syntax analysis or parser. So the parse tree for the above expression grammar. For the example, for example, here we have taken one string. So the string is b into b minus 4 into a into c. So now simply this can be written as so b into b minus 4 into a into c. So generally how this can be represented in the form of tree. Actually this is a string. A string can't be represented in the form of parse tree or derivation tree directly without grammar. So here first we have to consider the grammar. Here the grammar is E derives E plus T or T, then T derives T into F or F, then F derives ID or E within parentheses. From this actually we have to derive the string. So the string is consisting of an identifier B, a constant 4, then other identifier A, then other identifier C. Now here identifiers are called as terminals now. Suppose let us see a constant. That value you can take here, value as 4 here. So now the leaf nodes of this partial derivation tree consisting of identifier into identifier minus constant into identifier into constant. By combining all the leaf nodes from left to right, which is called as the yield of a derivation tree or parse tree. So that contains the given string b into b minus 4 into a into c. So now here generally what we will do while constructing a derivation tree or parse tree, we will take starting variable as the root. E is the root. So E means expression. This is E. Now what E contains? Here E contains E plus T. Then or E minus also we have E minus T also. So which is required here? Here you can see in this string plus is not there. Compulsory you have to take minus combination, that is E minus T. Therefore here E left child is E, then middle one is minus, then right child is T. So this is nothing but E minus T. So wherever variable is there, then wherever expansion is there, you can substitute. But for operators, no expansion is possible. So now expression, now E minus T is substituted from left to right. Then left hand side what you want actually into. So that means into is available in T. So first E is replaced with T. So that is here we have another production E derives T. Now you can substitute E derives T in the left hand side. Then T you need to substitute into combination, that is T into F. Then T derives, so T into F. So then from left to right you can simplify here. Not a issue whether you want to apply leftmost or rightmost derivation, any derivation. So preferably from left to right you can simplify. Now you can see what you want actually. So the string consisting of two terminals, that is B into B combination, means ID into ID format you want. So now here T into F, then again what T contains. So you want actual identifier, but where identifier is there? Identifier is there in F production. So you can substitute T by F. So T derives F. Here you can substitute T derives F. Then what is F required? F required ID, identifier. So here identifier values are not given actually. So then what you have to do in the given string, whatever the first identifier, that you can take as it is, not an issue. So now you can take B. So here ID comma B. Now this is the leftmost leaf node. Leftmost leaf node here, what it contains? The terminal is B here. Now B into, you can take left to right, then into, then again what you want? F derives ID. So here again we have B. So B into B. So now we derived B into B, then minus. Next symbol is minus here. So B into B minus. So then again right hand side part you have to simplify. So here right hand side after minus, what is required here? Constant into identifier into identifier. So now so again here we have multiplication. Now T equal to T into F, you can take combination. So here T into F. Now leftmost where variable T is replaced with what you want. So again here two multiplications are there. Again you can substitute T into F here. Now the leftmost T, what you want actually a constant. So T is substituted with F, then F is substituted with constant, that is here. F derives constant value. So constant comma 4, whatever the constant required you can take. So now here we derived 4. Then next operator is into this one. Then again after into what you want. So another identifier, that is A. So now here you can substitute factor F derives ID with whatever the value A into, then again after this again here this into operator is there. Now into the last one again factor, we need one more identifier, that is C. So you can substitute C. Now you can see by connecting, by writing all the leaf nodes from left to right. So here we obtained or derived the required string. So therefore B into B minus 4 into A into C. This is our required string. This is the derivation tree or parse tree for the string using the algebraic expression grammar. So now here the concept is syntax analysis produces the hierarchical tree structure, which is called as the syntax tree. So now syntax tree is different from derivation tree or parse tree. So derivation tree or parse tree, all root nodes and internal nodes are represented by variables of the grammar, whereas leaf nodes are represented by operators, that means terminals. So whereas syntax tree, that can be constructed for expressions for the string without grammar. So we can construct a syntax tree. So here whatever the tree we are constructing, that is called as abstract syntax tree for the same string. So here you can see, you can observe the difference between previous parse tree or derivation tree to this syntax tree. Here syntax tree, root and internal nodes, are denoted by operators which are presented in the expression. Then leaf nodes are denoted by operands. Leaf nodes are denoted by operands. Between operator, left hand side, right hand side, whatever the values, those are called as operands. So now here you can see this is in the form of B into B minus 4 into A into C. So if you can assume minus as the intermediate operator, then left hand side you can take B into B, right hand side you can take B, 4 into A into C. So as for the precedence or hierarchy, we have to consider. So now minus you can consider it as the root. Then for that root, left hand side what we have? B into B. So again that operator is internal node. So now here we have taken. Then the left operand is B, which is identified. Then right operand of into is again identified B. So then right hand side after from the root minus right hand side, what it contains again 4 into a into c. So 4 into a into c, again you can take any one multiplication as the root. For example, if I will take the last one, so into right hand side, what we have again identifier c. Then left hand side again we have operator into. You can take it as internal node. Then its left part is a constant, that is 4. Then right part is an operand, that is a. So now you can see the expression. How to write this expression from leaf nodes? From leaf nodes to its internal node root, like preorder, not preorder. First we are writing leaf nodes, that is a post order format. So here left to right you can write the expression, again you will get the original string. Now here you can see b, this can be write as b into first this one, then this is the second one into, then again this third one into b, then again next one is the root, that is minus, then again from this from you can take leaf nodes too. So here the leaf nodes next position is fifth one, that is 4, then operator this is the sixth one, then into a is the seventh one. So then again its root is, that is into, this is eighth one. So then again the last one is ninth one, that is operand identifier. Now like that you have to write the expression. Now this is the abstract syntax tree for the string. So here grammar is not required. Here you can see in syntax tree grammar is not required, whereas in derivation tree or parse tree compulsory grammar is required. So whatever the syntax tree we constructed, this you will call it as abstract syntax tree. So here abstract syntax tree is a more useful data structure for internal representation. So it is a compressed version of the parse tree, that is summary of grammatical structure without details about its derivation. That's why you are calling it as abstract syntax tree means. So here grammar details are not there. That means what are its variables. So where we have derived, all those details are not presented here. So then abstract syntax trees are one form of intermediate representation. That is the fourth phase, intermediate code generation. So then coming to the third phase, semantic analysis, also called as context handling. So collects context means semantic information, checks for semantic errors, and annotates nodes of the tree with the results. For example, just now I mentioned, if any node does not contain meaningful form, it provides that meaning. So for example, type checking, report error if an operator is applied to an incompatible operand. At the time, the type checking gives the type conversion from int to float or int to real, like compatibility. Then a check flow of control. So in the root to proceeding towards leaf nodes, the flow of control. Then uniqueness or name related checks. So these are all the examples of semantic analysis. Again, the output of semantic analysis is same as abstract syntax tree, but with annotation. Then coming to the fourth phase, intermediate code generation. So translates the language specific constructs in the abstract syntax tree into more general constructs. A criterion for the level of generality. It should be straightforward to generate the target code from the intermediate representation chosen. So that means the abstract syntax tree constructs can be converted into some intermediate representation. Those can be taken as the input of the backend from that which produces the target code. For example, let us consider a 3-address code is one of the example of intermediate representation. So for example, here the previous expression. So what we have, so b into b minus 4 into a into c. This can be represented in the form of a 3-address code. First, the constant we use one temporary variable, so temp1 equal to 4. Then another temporary variable, we are storing the result of this one 4 into a. So therefore temp1, what it contains, temp1 is 4 now into a. So 4 into a is stored in temp2. So then what you have to do again, the temp2 value is multiplied with C. That can be stored in another new temporary variable, temp3 equal to temp2 into C. So here what you will get, see first here what you will get a constant 4. Here what you will get 4 into A. Then here what you will get 4 into A into C. Then again here we want B into B. So in temp4, suppose we can store this part B into B. So then finally we have to, here it contains B into B. So B into B minus 4 into A into C. So this is in temp3, then this is in temp4. Now the subtraction is temp4 minus temp3, that can be stored into another temporary, temp5. So this is the general form of 3 address code. So during intermediate code generation, we will discuss in detail about this intermediate code. This is the general form of intermediate code, which is the output of intermediate code generation. So then coming to next phase, code optimization, which is fifth phase of compiler, which is optional phase, which is used to minimize or reduce the intermediate code wherever possible is. So the goal is to improve the intermediate code and thus the effectiveness of code generation and the performance of the target code. Optimizations can range from trivial, for example, constant folding, to highly sophisticated, for example, inlining. For example, replace the first 2 statements in the previous example. So with temp2 equal to 4 into A. So here you can see directly, instead of for constant 1 temporary, so directly in temp2, directly you can write 4 into A. So then that temp1 is removed here. Some reduction is done here. So therefore here directly temp2 equal to 4 into A. Now temp1 is removed. One variable is removed here. Like that, wherever possibility, we have to do the optimization. So modern compilers perform such a range of optimizations that one could argue for. Now this is the diagrammatic representation of the role of code optimizer. So here you can see first it takes the front end, which takes input as source code, then gives the intermediate representation as the output of front end. Then the optimizer, we may call it as middle end, again it gives optimized intermediate representation. So then back end, the last phase, that is code generation, so, which produces target code by taking input as intermediate representation. So this is the role of code optimization. Then coming to the last phase of compiler, which is called as code generation. So code generation is the last phase of compiler, which takes input as output of code optimizer, that is optimized intermediate representation, then produces the target code. So it maps the abstract syntax tree onto a linear list of target mission instructions in a symbolic form. So here some of the methods for code generation: instruction selection, register allocation, instruction scheduling. So instruction selection, a pattern matching problem, whereas the register allocation, each value should be in a register when it is used. So, but there is only a limited number. So here this is an example of NP complete problem. Whereas instruction scheduling take advantage of multiple functional units. So NP complete problem here also. During the code generation, we will discuss in detail about all these code generation techniques. Then the target mission specific properties may be used to optimize the code. Finally, machine code and associated information required by the operating system are generated. So that is the role of code generator. So then here, in addition to the 6 phases, a symbol table is also included. Already mentioned what is the role of symbol table. This is the module that can be accessed by all the phases of the compiler. The information of all the variables, constants, along with type of variables and constants are stored here. For example, let us take the source string sum equal to initial plus value into 10. Here the variables are identified as some initial value. So some initial value. So is stored here along with their type also. So what is the type here? Type of the variable here. So this is identifier. Initial also identifier. This one also identifier. Even constant also. So now here it takes constant. So here this is constant like. So then these each and every row can be indexed with numeric values. So that is the role of symbol table. Then other component, error handler. So what is role of error handler? So every phase encounters errors. So those errors are stored in error handler. Then those can be handled or rectified. So this routine is invoked whenever an error is encountered in any of the phases. So this routine attempts a correction so that subsequent statements need not to be discarded, and many errors can be identified in a single compilation. That is the role of error handler. So these are all about all the 6 phases and symbol table and error handler. So later further phase wise we'll discuss more about all the pages. Now we will take one example, then how to convert that example into different phases of compiler. So that we will discuss in next class, followed by with other topics.